brother Nelson, and he's been my friend for many years.
Koech or Habi?
I mean Nelson Koech. Nelson Koech. Nelson, look at the pictures on the newspaper. Look at how government vehicles.
How do you know it's government vehicle?
Is this a government vehicle?
You can tell a government vehicle. You see, I don't want to also talk as if this thing is personal to me. It is personal, but not the way you wanted to accuse my brother Nelson Harvey. The KK government doesn't have to lie about anything. The KK government was given the mandate by the Kenyan people. The disagreements that exist between Honorable Gachagua and the president and his impeachment and the coming of Kindiki, and for some of us, it doesn't mean anything. For anybody, like I saw, because I attended Speaker Wetangula's mother's funeral, and I was sitting there and I listened to Kimani Ichung'wah say how Honorable Natembeya was abducting people, and in fact, these people have been abducting themselves. I mean, at some point, people in this country are just going to look and look at all of us in leadership and say, what happened to these people? Why is it that we behave as if actually this is not a state? This is just some banana republic where you can break the law as you may so wish, abduct anybody you want. If I say something and I've broken the law, you don't have to arrest me, Ayub. What they do is come and invade my place. Even they can cut all my children's heads and for retaliation. That's not the country. This is not the Senate. This is not the republic. This is not the president I expected William Ruto to be. I expected his standard to be higher. Like I've said before, the president has served four different presidents. Any mistakes that those presidents were making, by now, surely he should have trained himself to fix them. He was with Moi, finished Moi, he came to Kibaki. He was in the coalition government of Kibaki and Raila. You remember our mess in 2008? I mean, it's like we are handling our country as if we want to go into war. People are already saying how they're either going to rig elections or take those elections and do whatever they want to do with them. And that is normal in a normal democratic republic that we've all been fighting about and saying how wonderful our country is and how we can take it next and how we can change certain things. We are struggling in education, struggling in infrastructure, struggling in governance. I am worried. I am an extremely worried person. And yet other people are laughing these things off. It's normal. Some of us have been discussing and raising issues about our country. The truth is, if Parliament was more proactive, the Senate was more proactive, most likely, I think, it will be much easier for some of the problems that are coming into this country, the problems that are actually even cooking. I mean, Ayub, look at what is happening in Central, even when my colleagues would want to dismiss what is happening. The political matrix that is being generated there, to me, is exact template like what was happening in 1992, 2002, now you're coming to 2000. What is happening right now is very simple. Here you are, you have a political crisis, and we are assuming that this political crisis, the only way you solve it is going to be in a certain manner. That can either be by intimidation or by insulting each other on national TV. And that's why I saw my brother Eddie really struggling to say, oh, you know, there are certain things which, because we want the state to... Eddie, the state only becomes stronger and becomes self-sustaining if we accept that mistakes have been happening on both sides. Yes. And therefore, we need to begin to engage ourselves as leadership honestly, candidly, and fairly. So when I see the noise that is coming from central Kenya, and I see some of the noise that's coming from the people around the presidency, and I see the noise from other quarters, I begin to worry. Why? Because these are matters, if Kenyans who are in leadership were much more serious, these are things, even when some people will consider that where Gachagua is beyond any reasonable redemption and other things, the damage has already been done. But the damage can be managed. You can't throw fuel onto the fire.
Exactly.
If Gachagua is in Central making noise about how the president has betrayed him and the certain community that he comes from is feeling betrayed and all that, so long as he's saying it and he feels that is true without being personal and attacking the president personally, for me, I don't find any contradiction on that. That is what the president, William Ruto, did with Uhuru all the period he was Uhuru's vice president.
And he wasn't impeached.
And he wasn't impeached. And nobody carried kids to go and abduct them to teach them a lesson because they're using a damn phone. This is what scares me.
Yep.
This is what worries me. That slowly we are now becoming, how do I put it, Ayub? We are slowly beginning to become insensitive to the violations, to the disagreements, that everything now in Kenya is beginning to look like it's do or die. I mean, all of a sudden, Mongiki is now being set up to start. I mean, surely.
By who?
I mean, you've been seeing it all over. Social media, you've been seeing it in the newspapers. Maindanjenga has been reactivated.
By who?
I mean, that's what I'm asking. Do we need to go back to have people who've been activated who have no responsibility or even answerable to anybody?
And I'm raising this point because we were talking about security questions as to who was abducting Kenyans, where they were held, why certainly there was a concurrence between those who were released previously and now, the Longton brothers and Bob Njagi. Again, you bring in another important question. Who then, in your view, is re-engineering Mongiki?
My argument and my point is how I wish the political class would listen to itself. It is not ordinary Kenyans. Because of this power play. Because, I mean, you saw my brother. I mean, you know, Oscar Sudi is my friend. Kamket is my friend. So what are you standing in public and telling me that the elections which are coming, it doesn't matter what I'm going to do, whether you rig them out or not, it doesn't. What are you doing to the country? Why are people so insensitive? I mean, Kenya is a country that has been discriminatory to itself. Look at how we have treated the Somali community. Look at how we have treated other communities. Why is it that our job is purely to plan and organize how to dismember our beautiful country?
Before you retire to bed, when you look yourself in the mirror, do you regret belonging to the same political class?
Yes, I do.
Honorable questions.
Public rallies have nothing to do with TikTok. I've heard you, when you try and criticize people like me, oh, you know, when we were being jailed and abducted during the last regime. But it was your regime.
Absolutely.
You were in Jubilee. Same Jubilee people were killing each other. Now they wanted me to now come in and begin to sort out how they are killing each other. Me as a member of parliament from Kisii. I did not understand that this thing has always existed and it's been systemic. All right? I can tell you, Ayub, that my brother Nelson Harvey, I have been here discussing about why is our country constantly looking as if it is deliberately being broken down by certain individuals. And of course, Nelson will jump and say, you are now accusing the president. No. Some of the people who are doing the things that are being done, the president may not know. And we've constantly said, Eddie, you've been with me. How many times have we said, we are not anti-government? I am not against the broad-based government. But I don't want Joho and Wandai and John Badi to start lecturing Kenyans as if this country is their shop where they're selling potatoes and oranges. And without them, those people can't get those things. We had the good manners. We had the good behavior, where we don't tribalize development, where we don't tribalize our communities. I mean, there are certain things which are happening, and you are like, Why would somebody make a decision like that? So what we are saying, my brother Koech, is this. We want to have good manners. We want to have a country where I criticize you. You see how we are sitting here and you are telling me and I'm listening. I may not argue. I may argue against you the way you're arguing. But imagine whatever you are saying is getting into my head. Because I'm an averagely normal person. When I listen to Nelson Harvey, 90 or 80 or 40% of the things he'll say, they make sense. What he doesn't make sense with, I'll leave it alone. That's how we've been operating at the Senate with Kina Eddie. Not all of us know everything that is happening. We consult. What we are saying, how do you save this country with its myriad problems? And some of us are saying, please, get whoever that matters, whether it is Ruto and Raila, whether it is President William Ruto, whether it's Kina Musali and Wetanda. Can these people get up and realize they are there, wazees who are left in the room? That this country is bigger than all of us, and this country can actually be saved if people took it a little bit more seriously. And what some of us are saying, Ayub, we are actually playing with our country. I mean, look at, go to the paper and count the stories you see. I mean, my brother is saying that if somebody walks into the airport, he'll think all of us who are on TV are crazy. No, we are not. I mean, the headline is about kids who are abducted. Then you come and look how the parents are struggling with the books.
The papers.
No, I'm saying, but all of them are referring the same.
Not an authority.
Then, no. It's public opinion.
Can we chime in?
Yes, you can.
Because I think
in some of us who have never been making a lot of noise as to when human rights are being violated and everything is exactly the same argument that has made my party leader to join a government that we were against. You see, in politics, those contradictions emerge. At some point, you'll feel that the decision you've made is actually the wrong one or the right one, depending on the circumstances. Did I support the party leader for having joined the government? Yes, Eddie, you know, we talked about it.
Yes.
We looked and asked ourselves, do we have a structure if the Gen Z come in and decide to take over government? How do they run it? It was not possible. We were honest and realistic with this scenario. So when people are busy killing Raila over that, it's just because they didn't understand the status report, that we were that close to the country either going to the military or the country disintegrating, and then you are going to have militias in the Republic of Kenya. Have some of us become emancipated, like me who's a Catholic, to change and accept that there's certain responsibility I have greater than before? Absolutely, Eddie. Have I ever been more harsher and more critical of government before? For the last 10 years, I've been talking about corruption. I've been talking about bad governance. I criticize the Jubilee government. We've always done that.
you and I have done that.
We've always done that.
I think
so what I want Eddie not to do is to make an assumption that, and I listened to Harvey very carefully, and that has been his Achilles heel, that he wasn't consistent in fighting for the rights of the people who were abducted during that time because we were on the ODM side and they were on the other side.
Gachagua was cheering. He was cheering that inhuman.
Let him finish.
I'm talking about the poor.